What if the Philosopher's Stone wasn't just a fairy tale, but a map of your own hidden potential? For centuries, this legendary substance has been dismissed as a myth or a failed attempt at creating gold, but what if its true purpose was far more profound? In this video, we'll uncover the untold history of the Philosopher's Stone, revealing its connection to ancient wisdom traditions and its transformative power to awaken your inner alchemist. The Philosopher's Stone, the stuff of legends, sought after by emperors, magicians, and even modern-day fictional characters. You've probably heard of it before, perhaps associating it with Nicholas Flamel's supposed success or its prominent role in the Harry Potter series. But beyond the myths and popular culture lies a rich, complex history, one that stretches back to the very dawn of Western esotericism. Alchemy, often mistakenly viewed as a primitive precursor to chemistry, was in reality a deeply spiritual and philosophical system. Its practitioners, figures like Hermes Trismegistus, Jabir ibn Hayyan, and Paracelsus, weren't just trying to turn lead into gold. They were seeking to transmute themselves, to achieve a state of enlightenment and spiritual perfection. What if the true gold wasn't a physical substance, but a transformed and purified soul? Alchemy, as a discipline, has suffered from centuries of misinterpretation, largely due to its dense symbolic language and the deliberate secrecy of its practitioners. To understand the Philosopher's Stone, we must first recognize that alchemical texts are not literal instruction manuals for chemical processes. Instead, they are allegories, encoded with symbols that represent the inner journey of transformation. The crucible, the retort, the philosopher's egg, these are not merely pieces of laboratory equipment. They are representations of different stages of the alchemical process and aspects of the human psyche. The intense heat of the furnace, for example, might represent the trials and tribulations that we face on the path to self-discovery, burning away impurities and revealing our true nature. Understanding alchemy, therefore, requires us to become fluent in its symbolic language, to see beyond the surface and grasp the deeper meaning hidden within. This is no easy task, a fact that I can attest to from my own experience poring over these primary source texts, ancient and dense, yet brimming with insight. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of the Philosopher's Stone, it's important to acknowledge the limitations of a purely materialistic worldview. In a world that often prioritizes external achievements and material possessions, the value of inner transformation and spiritual growth is often overlooked. We are bombarded with messages that tell us to seek happiness and fulfillment in external things, in wealth, status, and possessions. But what if true and lasting happiness can only be found within? What if the pursuit of external goals is ultimately a distraction from the real work of self-discovery and spiritual awakening? Alchemy offers a powerful alternative to this materialistic mindset, presenting the Philosopher's Stone as a symbol of wholeness, integration, and spiritual realization. The Philosopher's Stone represents a path to overcome the limitations of the ego and connect with one's true self. It's not about escaping reality, but about transforming it from within, aligning oneself with the divine will. And while this may sound abstract, its importance in our modern age is more vital than ever. It beckons us to self-improvement, to tap into hidden wisdom, to actively acknowledge the innate potential we each possess to know ourselves. By understanding the principles of alchemy, you can begin to transform your own life, turning lead into gold and darkness into light, tapping into your most unlimited self. Therefore, the central thesis of this video is this: the Philosopher's Stone is not a literal substance, but a symbol of the alchemical process of spiritual transformation, offering a practical path to self-realization and enlightenment. It represents your own latent potential for spiritual transformation, the transformative potential inherent in the alchemical journey. This process involves a series of stages, each representing a different aspect of the journey toward wholeness and integration, stages such as the Negredo, Albedo, and Rubedo. It is a key to understanding the true meaning and purpose of alchemy, offering us a new perspective on this ancient tradition. So let's begin our journey by delving into the origins of the alchemical tradition and its central symbol, the Philosopher's Stone. First, we'll delve into the origins of the stone and its key symbolic and literal interpretations. Then, we'll decode the core processes for achieving the goal of the magnum opus, detailing how to apply the lessons in each of these for your own personal growth. As we've seen, the Philosopher's Stone is much more than a mere substance capable of transmuting lead into gold. It is a symbol of profound spiritual transformation, a key to unlocking our inner potential. But can we truly grasp its significance if we remain tethered to a literal understanding of its nature? Is the allure of material wealth and physical transmutation distracting us from the stone's true purpose, the awakening of our soul and the realization of our divine potential? The esoteric view of alchemy, often perpetuated in popular culture, focuses on the pursuit of material wealth and the mastery of physical transmutation. This perspective sees alchemy as a proto-science, a flawed attempt to discover the secrets of nature through experimentation and manipulation. However, this is a superficial understanding that misses the true essence of alchemy. The esoteric understanding, on the other hand, views alchemy as a spiritual discipline, a path of inner transformation that uses symbolic language and ritual practices to awaken the soul and achieve enlightenment. It recognizes that the alchemical texts are not meant to be taken literally, but as allegories that represent the stages of the inner journey. Recognizing the allegorical nature of these texts is paramount to understanding the true nature of the Philosopher's Stone. Otherwise, we risk mistaking the map for the territory, the symbol for the reality it represents. After all, could the true secrets be hidden in plain sight, veiled behind a deliberate obscurity designed to weed out those who are not ready to receive them? Let us now turn to the concept of the magnum opus, the great work, which represents the ultimate goal of alchemical practice. The magnum opus is not merely the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, but the complete integration of the self, the union of the individual soul with the divine. It is the realization of one's full potential as a human being, the awakening of the inner Christ or Buddha. Think of it as the alchemist's ultimate masterpiece, the culmination of a lifetime of dedication and spiritual practice, where the crucible is not merely a vessel, but the very heart of the alchemist, and the fire, the burning desire for enlightenment. The creation of the Philosopher's Stone, therefore, is not an end in itself, but a crucial step on the path toward achieving the magnum opus, a catalyst that accelerates the transformative process and helps the alchemist to achieve union with the divine. Achieving the magnum opus is said to bring about transformative effects such as enlightenment, immortality, not necessarily physical, but spiritual, and a profound sense of interconnectedness with all things, offering a glimpse into the underlying unity of existence. But could it be that the true immortality lies not in escaping death, but in transcending the limitations of the ego and merging with the eternal source of creation? Having established this, let's delve into the various symbolic representations of the Philosopher's Stone found in alchemical literature. The stone is rarely described in literal terms. Instead, it is represented by a multitude of symbols, each layering meaning upon meaning, offering a glimpse into its multifaceted nature. Consider the rubis, that iconic alchemical symbol depicting the union of opposites, male and female, sun and moon, conscious and unconscious. The rubis embodies the alchemical principle of integration, the idea that true transformation requires the reconciliation of seemingly contradictory forces within oneself. It is the embodiment of wholeness, representing the alchemist's journey to unite their fragmented self and embrace the totality of their being. Then there's the philosopher's egg, the vessel in which the alchemical process takes place, symbolizing the containment and transformation of the prima materia, the raw, undifferentiated substance from which all things are created. Within the confines of the egg, the prima materia is subjected to intense heat and pressure, undergoing a series of transformations that ultimately lead to the birth of the philosopher's stone. This egg is you, and it is everything you are made of. In contrast to this symbolic interpretation, it's essential to also touch upon the core concepts of Hermeticism, particularly the principle of as above, so below, which holds that there is a correspondence between the microcosm, human, and the macrocosm, universe. The alchemical process, therefore, is not merely a chemical procedure, but a reflection of the cosmic processes of creation, destruction, and renewal. Just as the universe is constantly evolving and transforming, so too is the alchemist undergoing a process of continuous change and growth. By understanding the correspondence between the elements, planets, and human faculties, we can gain insights into our own nature and our place within the cosmos. This aligns the alchemist with an understanding of how to make real change. In this view, all the planets can be used as tools. But are we truly harnessing the power of the elements and planets within us, or are we merely puppets of cosmic forces beyond our control? As we draw this section to a close, let's remember the symbolic nature of the philosopher's stone, a key that unlocks the door to our inner world. Now let us embark on the next stage of our exploration, delving into the specific stages of the alchemical process and how they reflect the journey of transformation. The alchemical dance is a complex series of steps, each crucial in the overall transformation of the alchemist. The first of these stages is the Negrido, the blackening. The Negrido represents the initial state of chaos, decay, and purification, where the alchemist confronts their shadow self, the dark and repressed aspects of their personality. Blackness, in this context, symbolizes the dissolution of old patterns, beliefs, and ego attachments that are hindering our growth. It is the necessary first step in any transformative process, the breaking down of old structures to make way for the new. Psychological challenges of the Negrido stage are immense, requiring the alchemist to face repressed emotions, confront fears, and accept one's imperfections. But what if embracing our darkness is the key to unlocking our true potential? Following the darkness of Negrido, we arrive at the second stage, albedo, the whitening. Albedo symbolizes purification, cleansing, and the emergence of clarity and new perspectives. It is the dawn after the long night, the moment when the alchemist begins to see the light after having been in darkness for so long. During this stage, one may experience spiritual illumination and the awakening of intuition, as if a veil has been lifted from their eyes. Detachment, objectivity, and discernment are crucial in navigating the challenges of albedo, for it is easy to become attached to the newfound clarity and lose sight of the ultimate goal. But can we truly embrace the light if we haven't fully integrated our shadow? Often overlooked, the third stage is citrinitas, the yellowing. Citrinitas represents the integration of solar consciousness and the realization of intellectual and spiritual illumination. It is the bridge between albedo and rubedo, preparing the alchemist for the final stage of transformation. This stage is characterized by the emergence of wisdom, knowledge, and a deeper understanding of the self and the universe. The symbolism of gold and the sun further represents wisdom, knowledge, and the integrated self, as the alchemist increasingly embodies these qualities. But does the pursuit of wisdom risk turning into intellectual arrogance, blinding us to the deeper truths that lie beyond the realm of the mind? We now arrive at the final stage, rubedo, the reddening, which represents the culmination of the alchemical process, where the alchemist achieves wholeness, integration, and union with the divine. Red, the color of passion, vitality, and spiritual rebirth, symbolizes the transformative effects of this stage. The alchemist is now able to manifest one's true will, heal oneself and others, and live in alignment with the divine. The transformative effects of the rubedo stage are profound, bringing about a sense of liberation, joy, and unconditional love. But does achieving this state of wholeness mean the end of the journey, or is it merely the beginning of an even greater adventure? Having summarized the stages of alchemical transformation, let's journey into the past to examine historical figures who sought the stone and what we can glean from their journeys. Nicholas Flamel, a prominent figure in alchemical lore, is shrouded in legends surrounding his supposed achievement of the Philosopher's Stone and immortality. But what is the truth behind these tales? The historical evidence supporting Flamel's alchemical accomplishments is scant, blurring the line between fact and fiction. What we do know is that Nicholas Flamel was a Parisian scribe and bookseller in the 14th century. After his death, stories began to circulate that he had discovered the secret of transmutation and achieved immortality through the Philosopher's Stone. These stories were further popularized by alchemical texts and later by fiction, such as the Harry Potter series. But regardless of the historical accuracy, the symbolic significance of Flamel's story remains potent. It serves as an allegory for the alchemical journey and the pursuit of spiritual perfection, reminding us that the true treasure lies not in material wealth or eternal life, but in the transformative process itself, a journey inward to discover the gold within. Let's now consider Basil Valentine, a legendary alchemist and Benedictine monk, whose alchemical writings and contributions to the development of pharmaceutical chemistry have left an indelible mark. Hidden behind the veil of legend, Valentine's existence, much like Flamel's, remains debated, but his attributed works offer invaluable insights into the alchemical tradition. The symbolic imagery in Valentine's 12 Keys connects directly to the stages of the alchemical process and aspects of personal transformation, further emphasizing this connection. Moreover, Valentine emphasized the importance of prayer, meditation, and spiritual devotion in achieving alchemical success, reminding us that alchemy is not merely a scientific endeavor, but a deeply spiritual practice. Perhaps Valentine was not a single historical figure, but a representation of the collective wisdom of generations of alchemists, their experiences and insights woven together into a single symbolic persona. Moving on, we come to Paracelsus, a Swiss physician, alchemist, and philosopher, whose holistic approach to medicine challenged the conventional wisdom of his time. With a belief in the interconnectedness of the human body, mind, and spirit, Paracelsus sought to heal not just the physical symptoms of disease, but the underlying causes rooted in the energetic imbalances of the individual. Paracelsus's concept of the tria prima, sulfur, mercury, and salt, are the three fundamental principles underlying all matter, and connecting them to the alchemical process of purification and transformation is crucial to his method. His alchemical remedies emphasized the use of natural substances to heal the body and restore balance to the energetic system, prefiguring modern holistic medicine. Was Paracelsus a visionary ahead of his time, or a dangerous charlatan peddling unsubstantiated claims? But what about Isaac Newton? He is more than just a scientist. Did you know he also had a prominent role in esotericism? By further legitimizing alchemy as a field of study, Newton explored his alchemical pursuits and his attempts to decipher the secrets of nature. Newton's alchemical manuscripts highlight his interest in transmutation, the elixir of life, and the Philosopher's Stone. The implications of Newton's alchemical work are vast for our understanding of his scientific genius and his broader worldview. It's important to note that alchemy, during Newton's time, wasn't seen as separate from science. Both were considered ways to understand the natural world. Newton saw alchemy as a way to understand forces that couldn't be explained by his laws of physics. But if Newton, the father of modern physics, dedicated a significant portion of his life to alchemical pursuits, does this lend credence to the validity of alchemy as a legitimate field of inquiry? In synthesizing these key takeaways from our historical examples, we begin to see the common themes of spiritual seeking, personal transformation, and the pursuit of hidden knowledge unite these figures. They may have approached alchemy from different perspectives, but they were all driven by a desire to understand the fundamental nature of reality and to unlock the secrets of human potential. But what if the true secret of alchemy lies not in the external world, but in the depths of our own consciousness, waiting to be discovered? As we've journeyed through the historical tapestry of alchemy, explored the multifaceted symbolism of the philosopher's stone, and delved into the transformative stages of the alchemical process, one question remains. Can these ancient principles truly be applied to our modern lives, offering a path to personal growth and spiritual awakening? Or are they merely relics of a bygone era, fascinating but ultimately irrelevant to the challenges and complexities of the 21st century? While the alchemical texts may seem shrouded in obscure language and arcane symbolism, their core principles offer a timeless wisdom that transcends cultural and historical boundaries. Applying these principles to contemporary contexts requires a willingness to look beyond the literal interpretations and to see the underlying psychological and spiritual truths they convey. It demands a commitment to self-reflection, a willingness to confront our shadow selves, and a deep desire for personal transformation. But is this commitment enough, or do we also need a practical framework for translating these ancient teachings into actionable steps? One of the most fundamental principles of alchemical practice is solve et coagula, a Latin phrase that translates to dissolve and coagulate. This principle encapsulates the cyclical process of breaking down old structures and building new ones, a process that is essential for both physical and spiritual transformation. Solve represents the process of deconstructing limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and ego attachments that are hindering our growth. It is the alchemical equivalent of facing our fears, acknowledging our flaws, and letting go of that which no longer serves us, much like the Negredo stage we discussed earlier. Could it be that our resistance to dissolving these old structures is what keeps us trapped in cycles of suffering and stagnation? Coagula, on the other hand, represents the process of reintegrating these dissolved elements into a new, more balanced, and integrated whole. It is the alchemical equivalent of building new habits, cultivating positive emotions, and creating a more authentic and fulfilling life. This process is where we take the raw materials of our experiences, both positive and negative, and transform them into something of greater value, much like the alchemist transmuting base metals into gold. However, does this process of reintegration require us to completely erase our past, or is it about learning to accept and integrate all aspects of ourselves, even the ones we deem undesirable? Let's consider a specific example: overcoming addiction. The solve aspect involves recognizing and dismantling the harmful thought patterns and emotional triggers that perpetuate the addictive behavior. This might involve therapy, self-help groups, or other forms of support that help the individual to understand the root causes of their addiction and to develop healthier coping mechanisms. The coagula aspect, then, involves building a new, healthier identity that is not defined by the addiction. This might involve developing new hobbies, building supportive relationships, and creating a sense of purpose and meaning in life that is independent of the addictive substance or behavior. But can we truly overcome addiction without addressing the underlying spiritual emptiness that often fuels it? Similarly, solve et coagula can be applied to relationship problems by first dissolving old resentments, unhealthy communication patterns, and unrealistic expectations. This requires honest self-reflection, open communication, and a willingness to forgive both ourselves and our partners. Once these old patterns have been dissolved, we can then begin to coagulate new patterns of communication, connection, and mutual support. This might involve learning new communication skills, practicing empathy and compassion, and creating shared goals and values that strengthen the relationship. But is it possible to truly dissolve old resentments without first understanding the karmic lessons that our relationships are meant to teach us? Furthermore, the alchemical stages of Negredo, Albedo, and Rubedo provide a valuable framework for understanding and navigating the process of personal transformation. The Negredo stage, as we've discussed, is a period of facing one's shadow self, requiring self-compassion and acceptance. This means acknowledging our flaws, embracing our imperfections, and recognizing that we are all works in progress. The albedo stage involves cultivating mindfulness, self-awareness, and a detached perspective on one's thoughts and emotions. This allows us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, to recognize them as temporary phenomena, and to avoid getting caught up in their drama. The rubedo stage represents the integration of all aspects of oneself, leading to greater wholeness, authenticity, and joy. This is the culmination of the alchemical process, where we embrace our true selves, live in alignment with our values, and express our unique gifts to the world. But are we truly prepared to embrace our true selves if we haven't first confronted the societal conditioning and cultural norms that have shaped our identities? To further facilitate this inner transformation, we can incorporate alchemical meditation into our daily practice. This involves using visualization, breathwork, and symbolic imagery to activate the alchemical process within our own consciousness. Imagine yourself sitting in a darkened room, surrounded by the tools of the alchemist, the crucible, the retort, and the philosopher's egg. Visualize the raw materials of your life, your thoughts, emotions, experiences being placed into the crucible, where they are subjected to the intense heat of self-reflection. Feel the old patterns and beliefs dissolving, the impurities being burned away, and the new, purified essence beginning to emerge. Focus on your breath, allowing it to guide you deeper into the alchemical process, to wash away any tension or negativity, and to fill you with a sense of peace and tranquility. With regular practice and self-reflection, you can unlock the transformative power of alchemy and create a life of greater wholeness, authenticity, and joy. However, is mere visualization enough, or do we need to supplement it with concrete actions and real-world experiences? As we conclude this exploration of the practical applications of alchemical principles, we begin to see that alchemy is not just an intellectual pursuit, but a powerful tool for personal transformation. But how does alchemy relate to other esoteric traditions, such as Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Gnosticism? What shared principles and practices connect these seemingly disparate paths of wisdom? And how can understanding these connections enhance our own alchemical journey? But how does alchemy relate to other esoteric traditions, such as Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Gnosticism? And perhaps more importantly, can we find common threads that tie these traditions together, illuminating the path to the philosopher's stone and its transformative power within ourselves? What if the key to unlocking the true potential of alchemy lies not just in understanding its individual principles, but in recognizing its interconnectedness with other systems of wisdom? Indeed, while alchemy often stands alone in popular imagination as a quasi-scientific pursuit obsessed with transmuting lead into gold, its true essence is interwoven with a rich tapestry of esoteric traditions, each offering unique perspectives and complementary practices for achieving spiritual transformation. To truly grasp the depth and breadth of alchemy, we must recognize it as one facet of a larger universal quest for self-realization, a quest that finds expression in diverse forms across cultures and throughout history. But what are some of these key connections, and how can we leverage them to enhance our own understanding of alchemy? XII. The primacy of inner work. Spiritual transformation as the alchemist's true goal, while the transmutation of base metals into gold often dominates the popular perception of alchemy, we must constantly remind ourselves that its true focus lies in the spiritual and psychological transformation of the alchemist. The external processes, the bubbling retorts, and the strange concoctions are, in reality, symbolic representations of internal changes, allegories for the inner work required to achieve enlightenment and spiritual perfection. What if the gold alchemists sought was not literal wealth, but a state of heightened consciousness, a profound understanding of the self and the universe? Central to this inner alchemical process is the concept of prima materia, first matter. This isn't merely a physical substance. Rather, it represents the raw, undifferentiated state of the alchemist's psyche, containing both immense potential and deeply ingrained impurities. Think of it as the blank canvas upon which the alchemist will paint their masterpiece, or the unformed clay from which they will sculpt their ideal self. The prima materia is the starting point for the alchemical journey, embodying the unrefined aspects of the self that must be purified, transmuted, and ultimately transformed. But is this prima materia something we are born with, or is it shaped by our experiences and conditioning? Indeed, the alchemist's journey demands self-knowledge. They must first embark on a profound journey of self-discovery, understanding their own strengths, weaknesses, and hidden motivations to initiate true transformation. The alchemical journey is, at its core, a process of radical self-honesty, requiring deep introspection and a courageous willingness to confront one's own flaws. What if our greatest obstacles lie not in the external world, but within ourselves, buried deep within our unconscious minds? The path also requires a period of mortificatio, spiritual death. This is a necessary step in the alchemical process, representing the dissolution of the ego and the letting go of old identities and attachments. It is a symbolic death of the old self, making way for the emergence of a new, more authentic self. This process can be painful and disorienting, but it is essential for breaking free from limiting beliefs and embracing one's true potential. What if the things we cling to most tightly are the very things that are holding us back? XIII, processes for perfection, practical alchemical techniques for self-mastery. Let's now turn our attention to the practical techniques employed by alchemists on their journey to self-mastery. These processes, while often described in cryptic and symbolic language, offer a powerful framework for understanding and navigating the challenges of personal transformation. One such technique is calcination, the alchemical process of burning away impurities. In the context of inner work, calcination represents the purification of the alchemist's thoughts, emotions, and desires through discipline and self-control. It involves confronting and releasing negative patterns, such as anger, greed, and envy, through conscious effort and self-awareness. What if our negative emotions are not simply obstacles to overcome, but opportunities for growth and transformation? Through techniques like meditation, journaling, and mindful awareness, we can begin to burn away these impurities. Dissolution is next, and represents the dissolving of rigid structures and beliefs. It embodies the opening of the alchemist's mind to new perspectives and possibilities through introspection and the questioning of assumptions. This process involves challenging one's own biases, prejudices, and limiting beliefs, allowing for greater flexibility and adaptability. Are we willing to question everything we think we know, even our most deeply held convictions? Engaging in intellectual debates, exploring diverse cultures and viewpoints, and practicing radical open-mindedness can help us dissolve these rigid structures. In contrast, separation refers to the process of distinguishing between the essential and the non-essential, representing the alchemist's ability to discern truth from falsehood and to focus on what truly matters. It involves identifying one's core values, goals, and priorities, and aligning one's actions accordingly. What if we could learn to filter out the noise and distractions of the modern world, focusing only on what truly nourishes our souls? Creating a vision board, setting clear intentions, and practicing mindfulness can help us separate the wheat from the chaff. Having established this, we come to conjunction, where opposing forces are united. It represents the alchemist's ability to integrate different aspects of the self into a harmonious whole through the reconciliation of seemingly irreconcilable elements. This involves embracing paradox, accepting complexity, and finding common ground between opposing viewpoints. Can we learn to see the world not in black and white, but in shades of gray, recognizing the inherent duality of all things? Practicing empathy, engaging in collaborative projects, and seeking win-win solutions in conflicts can help us achieve this conjunction. After conjunction, we have fermentation, the process of allowing a substance to decompose and transform. It represents the alchemist's willingness to surrender to the natural flow of life and to trust in the transformative power of time and patience. This involves letting go of control, accepting uncertainty, and allowing things to unfold in their own time. Are we willing to relinquish our grip on the future, trusting that the universe has a plan for us, even if we cannot see it? Practicing mindfulness, engaging in creative activities, and spending time in nature can help us cultivate this sense of trust. Finally, coagulation refers to the process of solidifying and manifesting one's transformed self. It represents the alchemist's ability to bring their inner vision into reality through focused action and unwavering commitment. This involves setting clear goals, developing a plan of action, and taking consistent steps towards realizing one's desired outcomes. Are we willing to commit ourselves fully to our goals, even in the face of obstacles and setbacks? Setting smart goals, creating a daily routine, and practicing self-discipline can help us manifest our transformed selves. XIII. The universal language, common threads between alchemy, yoga, and Jungian psychology, having established the specific alchemical processes for self-mastery. Let us now turn to the intriguing connections between alchemy, yoga, and Jungian psychology, revealing the universal language of transformation that underlies these seemingly disparate traditions. Can we find common threads that weave these traditions together, illuminating the path to self-discovery and spiritual realization? One recurring theme that binds alchemy and yoga is the emphasis on purification. Both practices recognize the need to remove impurities, physical, mental, and spiritual, as a prerequisite for transformation. Just as the alchemist meticulously purifies their materials, the yogi diligently cleanses their body and mind through various techniques. What if the path to enlightenment begins with a simple act of cleansing, a willingness to shed the layers of negativity that obscure our true nature? The alchemical process of calcination, burning away impurities, finds a parallel in yogic practices like shatkarma, cleansing techniques, and tapas, austerity, both aimed at purifying the body and mind. Beyond purification, alchemy and yoga share a profound understanding of inner energy transformation. Alchemy seeks to transmute base metals into gold, while yoga seeks to awaken and channel kundalini energy, the dormant serpent power coiled at the base of the spine. Both traditions view the human body as a vessel for potent energies that can be harnessed for spiritual growth and expanded awareness. But what if this inner energy is not just a metaphor, but a real, measurable force that can be cultivated and directed through specific practices? The alchemical processes of distillation and sublimation, raising and refining substances, find parallels in the yogic practices of pranayama, breath control, and madras, energy seals, both aimed at manipulating and directing the flow of prana, life force energy, within the body. Perhaps most significantly, both traditions share the ultimate goal of union of opposing forces. Alchemy's conjunction represents the alchemist's ability to integrate different aspects of the self into a harmonious whole, reconciling seemingly irreconcilable elements. Similarly, yoga seeks to unite the masculine and feminine principles, the conscious and unconscious mind, to achieve a state of wholeness and enlightenment. Could it be that the secret to unlocking our full potential lies in embracing paradox and integrating the seemingly contradictory aspects of ourselves? This concept is mirrored in yogic concepts like hatha yoga, balancing sun and moon energies, and samadhi, union with the divine, both representing the ultimate integration of opposing forces. The intersection of alchemy and Jungian psychology is particularly striking, as both view transformation as a journey towards wholeness and self-realization. Jung's concept of individuation, the process of integrating the conscious and unconscious aspects of the self, bears a remarkable resemblance to the alchemical process of transformation. But here's what most people miss. Jung himself explicitly recognized the profound parallels between his psychological theories and the symbolism of alchemy, even going so far as to study alchemical texts extensively. What if Jungian psychology is, in essence, a modern reinterpretation of ancient alchemical principles, stripped of their esoteric trappings and presented in a more accessible language? Jung's concept of the shadow, the repressed aspects of the personality, mirrors the alchemical prima materia, the raw, undifferentiated state, while the alchemical stages, negrido, albedo, rubido, parallel the stages of individuation, confronting the shadow, integrating the anima animus, achieving self-realization. As we begin to synthesize these key takeaways, it becomes clear that alchemy, yoga, and Jungian psychology offer complementary paths towards self-discovery, transformation, and the realization of human potential. While each tradition employs its own unique language, symbols, and practices, they all ultimately point to the same underlying truth, that the journey to wholeness requires a deep exploration of the self, a willingness to confront our shadows, and a commitment to integrating all aspects of our being. What we'll discover next is even more shocking. Alchemists, yogis, and even those following Jungian psychology all seek the divine within. Perhaps, however, this is only the beginning. XV. Unveiling the chemical wedding. The alchemist's code for inner union. Is the philosopher's stone merely the result of rigorous laboratory processes, or is there a deeper, more transformative secret hidden within the alchemist's art? Perhaps the true crucible is not a vessel of glass and fire, but the very mind of the alchemist, with the chemical wedding serving as the ultimate catalyst. What if the external pursuit of the stone is but a reflection of the internal work of self-discovery and integration? Indeed, the chemical wedding, or chemical wedding, is a spiritualized version of the solve et coagula processes that we discussed previously. It's easy to get lost in the external aspects of alchemy, the elixirs, the furnaces, and the various chemical processes. However, without the internal process, these external elements become meaningless. They are merely symbols, pointing towards a deeper reality. What if the real magic of alchemy lies not in manipulating substances, but in transforming ourselves? Let us consider the chemical wedding as the sacred union of opposing forces within the alchemist's psyche. This union represents the integration of masculine and feminine principles, conscious and unconscious aspects, and intellect and intuition. The alchemical rebis, that androgynous figure embodying both male and female qualities, is a potent symbol of this perfected human being, a being who has transcended the limitations of duality and achieved a state of wholeness. But is the chemical wedding merely a symbolic event, or is it a transformative process that can lead to profound psychological and spiritual growth? The psychological implications of the chemical wedding are vast and far-reaching. This sacred union plays a crucial role in healing inner divisions, resolving conflicts, and fostering self-acceptance. Think of the chemical wedding as a key that unlocks the door to shadow integration, allowing us to embrace the hidden, often repressed, aspects of ourselves. By embracing these shadow aspects, we can move towards a more balanced, harmonious, and integrated personality. In short, we become whole. Is it possible that the alchemist's true quest is not to create gold, but to create a more complete version of themselves? Interestingly, we can connect the symbolism of the chemical wedding to the Gnostic concept of syzygy. Syzygy represents the union of male and female principles as a pathway to divine wholeness. The Gnostic syzygy mirrors the alchemical chemical wedding in its emphasis on transcending duality and achieving spiritual union. What if both traditions are pointing towards the same underlying truth, that the path to enlightenment lies in embracing the totality of our being? Some esoteric traditions even speak of sacred sexuality and tantric practices as ways of facilitating the union of opposites and awakening spiritual consciousness, though we will not delve into such explicit details here. As we've established, the chemical wedding is far more than just an alchemical term. It is a powerful symbol of inner transformation and integration. But how does this theory translate into practice? In the next section, we will explore specific examples of the chemical wedding and its transformative potential. XVI. From theory to practice, case studies in the chemical wedding process. Now that we've explored the theory behind the chemical wedding, let's turn our attention to practical examples of how this process manifests in real life. How can we apply these alchemical principles to our own journey of self-discovery and transformation? Let us first consider the Red King and White Queen as alchemical archetypes, embodying solar, masculine, and lunar, feminine principles, respectively. Their interaction is a symbolic representation of the alchemical chemical wedding. The hieros gamos in ancient Greek mystery cults, involving ritual reenactments of sacred marriages between deities, serves as another compelling example. But are these just ancient myths and rituals, or do they hold a deeper meaning for us today? The great psychologist Carl Jung recognized this, and so he connected Jungian psychology to the alchemical process of conjunctio through case studies, specifically the integration of anima and animus. Imagine, for instance, a male patient struggling to connect with his emotions. He might undergo the process of integrating his anima by exploring his suppressed feminine qualities through dream analysis, active imagination, and creative expression. What if, by embracing his feminine side, he could unlock a deeper level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness? Now consider a female patient struggling to assert her own needs and boundaries. She might go through the process of integrating her animus by developing her assertiveness, setting healthy boundaries, and pursuing her goals. By embracing her masculine side, could she empower herself to take control of her life and achieve her full potential? Now let's pivot to the solve et coagula principle in the context of relationship transformation as a microcosmic mirror of the alchemical chemical wedding. Think of a couple experiencing conflict due to differing communication styles. Applying solve would involve dissolving old patterns of defensiveness and blame. On the other hand, coagula can involve forming new agreements based on mutual respect and understanding. Can this be a transformative process, creating a stronger, more harmonious relationship? Picture an individual grappling with an addiction. We can apply solve by recognizing and dismantling the harmful thought patterns that perpetuate the addiction, and coagula by building a new identity rooted in self-worth. What if, by dissolving the old self, a person can create a new, healthier identity? What about the integration of shadow aspects in spiritual practices such as shamatha vipassana? We can link the alchemical nigredo phase to the yogic practice of confronting one's inner demons and unconscious patterns. Meditators use mindfulness to observe and accept difficult emotions, thoughts, and sensations without judgment. Through acknowledging and integrating these shadow aspects, a meditator could achieve greater self-acceptance, compassion, and inner peace. Can the acceptance of the shadow lead to inner peace? As we synthesize these case studies, it becomes clear that the chemical wedding and related alchemical processes hold immense transformative potential. But are these just isolated examples, or are there broader applications of alchemical principles in the modern world? In the next section, we will explore how alchemy serves as a cornerstone of self-help today. XVI. Alchemy Today, the stone's enduring legacy in modern self-help. Having explored the theoretical and practical applications of the chemical wedding, let us now consider how alchemical principles have been translated into modern self-help and personal development methodologies. Are the core tenets of alchemy still very much alive today, albeit in a different guise? While some may be skeptical of modern interpretations of alchemy, it is difficult to deny the timeless wisdom embedded in this ancient tradition. Perhaps the language has changed, but the underlying principles remain the same. What if the alchemists of old were simply using a different vocabulary to describe the same psychological and spiritual processes that we explore today? Consider cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, as a modern application of alchemical calcination, linking its process of identifying and challenging negative thought patterns to the alchemist's burning away of impurities. CBT techniques, such as cognitive restructuring and thought records, help individuals to become aware of their negative thoughts and challenge their validity. In turn, this helps individuals to release the grip of negative emotions and develop more adaptive ways of thinking and behaving, mirroring the transformative power of alchemical calcination. Can this be seen as a modern method of burning away impurities? Now let us explore mindfulness meditation as a contemporary application of the alchemical dissolution process, connecting its emphasis on present moment awareness to the alchemist's dissolving of rigid mental structures. Mindfulness practices such as breath awareness and body scan meditation help individuals to become more aware of their thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. By cultivating a non-judgmental awareness of the arising and passing away of thoughts and emotions, individuals can begin to dissolve those rigid mental structures that hold them back. What if simply observing our thoughts without judgment can set us free? Furthermore, the process of values clarification in self-help coaching can be seen as a modern parallel to the alchemical process of separation. Values clarification involves identifying and articulating one's deepest held beliefs, principles, and ideals. By aligning one's actions and decisions with one's values, individuals can achieve greater authenticity, purpose, and fulfillment, reflecting the alchemist's ability to discern truth from falsehood. Can discovering your values lead to a better, more fulfilled life? Finally, we can connect the principles of nonviolent communication, NVC, to the alchemical process of conjunction. NVC promotes empathy, understanding, and the resolution of conflict. NVC involves expressing one's needs and feelings honestly and respectfully, while also empathizing with the needs and feelings of others. This empathetic process can lead to greater connection, understanding, and collaboration, reflecting the alchemical integration of opposing forces. What if better communication could lead to a more harmonious life? As we synthesize these examples, it becomes clear that the alchemical tradition continues to inspire and inform modern approaches to self-help, personal growth, and spiritual transformation. But what if these modern applications are just scratching the surface of alchemy's true potential? What we'll discover next is even more shocking. Alchemy is more than just psychological transformation, it seeks literal immortality. Tags, paying close attention to the pacing, tone, and engagement techniques used in the examples. Thinking Content, Part 6, XVII. Concluding the great work. The stone's message for seekers today as we conclude our exploration into the depths of alchemical history, symbolism, and practical application, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of a profound understanding, where the whispered secrets of the ancients meet the urgent longings of the modern soul. The untold story of the philosopher's stone, at last, unveiled. Let us now draw together the threads of our investigation, weaving them into a tapestry that illuminates the true essence of this enigmatic stone. Throughout our journey, we have seen how the philosopher's stone is not merely a legendary substance for transmuting base metals into gold, but a potent symbol of the alchemical magnum opus, the inner transformation and spiritual awakening that lies dormant within each of us. The true gold is not a physical substance, but the realization of our highest potential, the unification of our fragmented selves, and the transcendence of our limitations. The prima materia is not laid, but our own unrefined consciousness, waiting to be purified and perfected. And the chemical wedding is not just a chemical process, but a sacred union of opposing forces within our psyche, leading to wholeness and integration. Recall the initial question we posed: what if the philosopher's stone wasn't just a myth, but a key to unlocking ultimate human potential? Having traversed the landscape of alchemical symbolism and practice, we can now understand that the stone symbolizes the transformative power within each individual, a power that can be awakened through dedicated self-inquiry, disciplined practice, and unwavering commitment to personal growth. By understanding and applying the principles of alchemy, we can transmute our inner, our fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs into the gold of enlightenment, wisdom, compassion, and self-mastery. Indeed, the pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone mirrors the universal human quest for meaning, purpose, and self-realization, a quest that transcends cultural, historical, and even temporal boundaries. The desire for transformation and self-improvement is not a fleeting trend, but a fundamental aspect of human nature, a longing to return to wholeness. The principles of alchemy speak to broader philosophical questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and the divine, inviting us to explore the interconnectedness of all things and our place within the grand cosmic design. This is a universal longing that exists across all cultures, continents, and creeds, this desire to become something greater, something more whole. And so, we affirm the viewer's potential for personal growth, spiritual awakening, and self-mastery through the application of alchemical principles. You are not merely a passive observer of life, but an active participant in your own transformation. The tools and techniques of alchemy, from calcination to conjunction, are readily available and can be applied to overcome personal challenges, heal inner divisions, and achieve greater wholeness and well-being. Embrace the alchemical journey as a lifelong process of self-discovery, experimentation, and unwavering commitment to your highest ideals, and you will unlock the transformative power of the stone within. We now return to the initial mystery surrounding the Philosopher's Stone, the whispered legends, and the elusive promises of transmutation. Having delved into its secrets, we can now confidently state, the Philosopher's Stone resides within. It is the spark of divinity that dwells within each of us, waiting to be ignited. It is the potential for transformation, the power to heal, and the key to unlocking our ultimate human potential. Now, having understood the inner workings of alchemy and the transformative power of the Philosopher's Stone, will you embark on your personal quest? And if so, what base metal will you choose to transmute first? Share your thoughts, insights, and personal experiences in the comments below, fellow seekers, and let us continue this alchemical journey together, supporting one another in our quest for wholeness, enlightenment, and the realization of our divine potential. As always, I am eager to hear your insights. Thank you for watching, fellow mystics. And if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate you manifesting your engagement by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and turning on the notifications bell. This way, you will never miss an upload. Also, if you would like to support my mission to uncover the secrets of Western esotericism, you can support the channel by joining our Patreon study group or by making a donation via PayPal. Until next time, continue to seek out the light. Hen to Pan.